Well, what we have here is driving by design. E. coli swimming lessons. We're getting swimming lessons from bacteria, see? Bacteria flagella, icon of the intelligent design movement. And it's amazing. You don't have to go any further than that. Never mind man's body, which is infinitely more complex than bacteria. Driving by design, E. coli swimming lessons. Here's a picture. Look at all those flagella all around. The cilia and flagella structure. I can blow it up a little bit more. I'll move it on down. You can take a better look at there's a better look at the picture. Cilia and flagella structure. The outer microtubule, the central microtubule, and the plasma membrane. And then you got all the flagella. It's just an intricate little thing. And it's microscopic. You can't even see it without a microscope. So microbiology is fun to study because the behavior of E. coli is increasingly being shown to be complex. Recent observation takes the argument of microbes by design to the next level by describing how the new research has provided insight into how E. coli drive more orderly than some people. Harvard researchers have recently discovered that E. coli swim on the right side. The motion of E. coli is not random. It is directed, ordered, and reminds one of car traffic patterns or even ant traffic patterns. When cells are confined to microchannels with soft agar floors made of hydrogels, they preferentially swim on the right-hand side, in order and closer to the floor of the gels. Bacteria are known to have clockwise circular trajectories along surfaces. Yet, in free solution, they swim in random walk trajectories. All of these features seem to shout design. In human terms, driving properly to avoid accidents takes driver's education, school, intelligence, and practice. It is certainly not by random chance nor accidental. A recent article shows E. coli driving on the right side, meaning that when placed in narrow forked tubes, they are more likely to swim up the right-hand fork due to the anti-clockwise direction in which the flagella rotate. This is more than just fascinating fact information. It may have clinical implications for urinary tract infections. E. coli can also cooperatively move over surfaces called swimming. It is more than just congregating. During extended periods of migration, bacteria cells move better on gel surfaces than on solid surface. This observation, combined with the ability of directed traffic, may allow new explorations of behavior studies of factors that contribute to bacterial pathogenicity. Boy, I wouldn't be able to pronounce the words. Now we have this Kenneth R. Miller, University of Providence, Rhode Island. Almost from the moment The Origin of Species was published in 1859, the opponents of evolution have fought a long losing battle, see what they say, along their Darwinian foes, against their Darwinian foes. Today, like a prize fighter in the late rounds, losing battle badly on points, they've placed their hopes in one big punch, a single claim that might smash through the overwhelming weight of scientific evidence to bring Darwin to the canvas once and for all. Wow. Their name for this virtual roundhouse right is intelligent design. In the last several years, the intelligent design movement has attempted to move against science education standards in several American states, most famously in Kansas and Ohio. Here's my response. Blue, in the blue font. Within the battle at boards of education or within any arena relative to the question of which is the preferred philosophy, creationism or evolution, is not an indicator of which is the right or the wrong on any point or overall. As a matter of fact, untruth and evil has and will largely win these battles until the end of the age and of the 7 years of worldwide violent tribulation when the intelligent designer, God, will arrive to fix it all. The greatest discovery that mankind has revealed against himself throughout all of his history, is that even in the good that he does, there is inevitably contained evil. You can have everybody vote on this. That doesn't mean what they're voting on is accurate. That's their vote. This author goes on to say, the principal claim made by adherents of the creationist view is that they can detect the presence of intelligent design in complex biological systems. I'm going to enlarge on this a little bit. Certainly, this applies to the evolutionist point of view, as I say in the blue font. For you have all implied and have outwardly stated that the universe, and especially the earth, have such an awesome, inexplicably complex order about them, far beyond the capacity of man to understand it and create anything within the universe that even compares to the simplest of life forms. So I am surprised that you refuse to consider the possibility of an intelligent agency. You even call this the God particle as of late. You have become attached to the belief system of evolution without scientific proof that there actually has been evolution over great periods of time that creates one species after another. Remember, observability of an actual evolvement of one complete species into another, repeatability of that precise event again and again, and falsifiability control of that event over and over again. That has not happened. Your rhetoric is not scientific, rather demeaning and ridiculing and shameful. That doesn't prove anything. Can a true scientist actually rule out such due to personal preference? Man has not even discovered an accurate progression of a life form and how it might have scientifically evolved into another without forcing assumptions to be true in order to prove those assumptions. You force the end outcome in order to prove the outcome. You can't do that. After so many years have gone by, and still there have been no proved out intermediary life forms discovered, especially one that completely rules out a creator of far greater intelligence than man can even conceive of. Who created all life forms, even those of similar design, without having to have them evolve, but including a marvelous capacity within each species of variation within that species, whose motivations are largely not well perceived, albeit they are largely made clear in the one reliable book for all men to understand. Well, this author, against this intelligent design, goes on to say in the black font, as evidence, they cite a number of specific examples, including the vertebrate blood clotting cascade, the eukaryotic cilium, and most notably the eubacteria flagellum. That's Michael Behe. Of all these examples, the flagellum has been presented so often as a counter-example to evolution that it might well be considered the poster child of the modern anti-evolution movement. Variations of its image, Figure 1, now appear on web pages of anti-evolution groups like the Discovery Institute and on the covers of intelligent design books such as William Dembski's No Free Lunch. To anti-evolutionists, the high status of the flagellum reflects the supposed fact that it could not possibly have been produced by an evolutionary pathway. The elephant in the room is the persistent refusal to consider the plausibility of an intelligent creator design in the blue font, which is largely ruled out for no good reason, just personal preference. The universe is, after all, an awesomely complex, hence intelligent. The universe is, after all, awesomely complex, hence intelligent. Here is a kind of a picture of a microscopic feature. Here, Figure 1, the eubacteria flagellum. The flagellum is an ion-powered rotary motor anchored in the membrane surrounding the bacterial cell. This schematic diagram highlights the assembly process of the bacterial flagellar filament and the cap filament complex. Very complex to me. There is, to be sure, nothing new and novel in an anti-evolutionist pointing to a complex or intricate natural structure and professing skepticism that it could have been produced by the random processes of mutation and natural selection. Nonetheless, the argument from personal incredulity, as such sentiment has been appropriately described, has been a weapon of little value in the anti-evolutionary movement. Anyone can state at any time that they cannot imagine how evolutionary mechanisms might have produced a certain species or organ structure. Such statements obviously are personal, and they say more about the limitations of those who make them than they do about the limitations of Darwinian mechanisms. Well, here's my answer in blue font. Could I not say the same about you? Let's see. Nonetheless, the argument from personal incredulity, as such sentiment has been appropriately described, has been a weapon of little value in the anti-creation movement. Anyone can state at any time that they cannot imagine an existence of an intelligent designer who might have produced a certain species, organ, or structure. Such statements obviously are personal, and they say more about the limitations of those who make them than they do about whether or not an actual intelligent designer does exist. See, so you can reverse the argument. The problem is, I thought of this just now. All right, you believe in evolution, but that doesn't disprove creation. Because creation, there could have been an intelligent designer. A lot of intelligent things have been formed so far in the universe. Maybe they evolved. Maybe they were created. Just because you can show in your own way that they could have evolved, but you can't really. But you make up some ideas, and they don't really fit perfectly at all. Hardly at all. Not even close. You say, well, yeah, but why not just let a creation, a designer, intelligent designer do it? Right? He could have. So, the hallmark, this writer goes, who doesn't like creationism, the hallmark of the intelligent design movement, however, is that it purports to rise above the level of personal skepticism. It claims to have found a reason why evolution could not have produced a structure like the bacterial flagellum, a reason based on sound, solid scientific evidence. Why does the intelligent design movement regard the flagellum as unevolvable? He answers, because it is said to possess a quality known as irreducible complexity. Irreducible complexity structures, we are told, could not have been produced by evolution, or for that matter, by any natural process. They do exist, however, and therefore they must have been produced by something. Yeah, that something could only be an outside intelligent agency operating beyond the laws of nature, an intelligent designer. That, simply stated, is the core of the new argument from design, and the intellectual basis of the intelligent design movement. Here's my answer. Ignoring the investigation of the probability of the eubacterial flagellum evolving versus the estimated age of the universe versus an intelligent designer's existence is simply not scientific nor credible. Only because the majority of mankind has been brainwashed, the reason for the worldwide flood in the first place, can man dare to say there is no creator, intelligent designer because we have voted him out of existence. Mankind who can't even find one missing link after all of this time. Now the guy goes on to say, the great irony of the flagellum's increasing acceptance as an icon of anti-evolution is that fact that research has demolished its status as an example of irreducible complexity almost at the very moment it was first proclaimed. He never mentions how that is. Give me your arguments. Doesn't. The purpose of this article is to explore the arguments by which the flagellum's notoriety has been achieved, and to review the research developments that have now undermined the very foundations of those arguments. We have the argument's origins. The flagellum owes its status principally to the book Darwin's Black Box by Michael Behe, a book by Michael Behe that employed it in a carefully crafted anti-evolution